When you look at Sullivan Island Maritime Forest from the air, you can really see how much was cut near Station 26.
Yeah, and since we broke this story yesterday, we've been trying to find out who could be responsible for the illegal cutting of trees and brush. Our Charleston Clark has been talking with people all day. And Charleston, you spoke with a man who witnessed it.
Yeah, hey guys, I spoke with someone who says he witnessed two men cutting trees at Station 26.5 on Friday. Police have not returned our repeated calls about the investigation. Meanwhile, I reached out to the person who owns the home adjacent to the Maritime Forest, and that might surprise you. The Maritime Forest on Sullivan's is a natural habitat allowed to grow after Hurricane Hugo. It's part of the island's landscape.
It's the Maritime Forest. It's kind of like a miracle that it'd be so close to peninsula Charleston, and everybody drives around, see all the development, the big box things you come off the bridge, and people need to know the Maritime Forest belongs to everybody that lives in Lowcountry.
Larry Kobrovsky has lived on the island for 40 years. He is outraged by the illegal cutting taking place and believes whoever is responsible should face harsh penalties.
That's why they need to be found, prosecuted, and put in jail as a deterrent, because otherwise every person in that category who wanted to cut it down will do the same and just laugh about it. They're not going to care about a fine of several $1,000s. It'll mean nothing to them.
Cheryl Ilderton has been a Sullivan's Island resident just as long as Larry. She wants the forest to be cleaned up some.
I can't imagine why anybody would want to just bulldoze it, but it does need to be, you do need to have the right to get out some of the underbrush underneath. It's just you walk down that path over there and you look in that water, it's like a septic tank.
We knocked on the door of the property closest to where the trees were cut to see if they know anything. We got no answer. We looked up the property records, called and left a message for who we believe is the owner, and still received no answer. We did find out the property went up for sale a few days ago for $9.25 million, but the listing was removed yesterday and we don't know why. Now, we also called DHEC, and it is aware of the illegal cutting, but because no permit has been received or issued, it's not involved in the investigation.
And welcome to ABC News 4 at 7. Charleston City Council is trying to address storm surge concerns. There's a study in the works for a seawall along the peninsula, but some have concerns about the priority of flooding projects in the city. Tara Jabor joins us live now. And Tara, how do some members of council actually feel about the seawall?
Tessa, the two members of council I spoke with today agree that flooding is an issue in Charleston and something needs to be done about it, but they don't believe the top priority should be storm surge.
NOAA just issued its latest predictions for sea level rise and rising tides, and the water's coming at us. So as the water comes at us, we have to manage it.
The Army Corps of Engineers is working on a plan for a 8.7-mile seawall along the peninsula. It would range from 3 to 11 feet depending on the elevation. But some members of council believes it's not the #1 priority.
We have other flooding issues that we experience in Charleston. When there's a storm, a rainstorm, which is not a hurricane, our streets flood. Our streets flood when there's a king tide.
Shahid is also concerned about the appearance.
So they talk about putting walls up and gates up, and also the height of the same is going to destroy the vista of the peninsula.
The project would cost $1.1 billion. The city would pay around $350 million. Shahid says it's too much money to fix one issue.
Just about every resource we have financially to a storm surge problem on the peninsula, and that's going to drain all of our financial resources.
To me, the priorities and the prioritization of the things we see and feel weekly: clear air flooding, storm flooding, rising groundwater. We need to look at all of that.
Council Seekings wants a plan that will address both flooding and storm surge, like what happened during Hurricane Irene.
We want an integrated approach that will address the problems that we see every day, but also recognize that if a storm comes along and we have storm surge, we need to protect certain assets against that as well.
And with the new study out today that says sea level is expected to rise up to a foot in 30 years, a decision needs to be made on what to do, and soon.
But council has not made any decisions on the seawall. The feasibility study is supposed to come back from the Army Corps of Engineers by the beginning of 2023.
One of the biggest events here in the Lowcountry, the Southeastern Wildlife Expo, and it's happening this weekend. Here to join us is Megan Trotta. She's the marketing director for SEWE. So Megan, tell us a little bit about what's new this year for the expo.
So this year at SEWE, we have a number of new artists and exhibitors coming to the show. We also we're exhibiting a new quail village at Brittlebank Park. So that'll have house a bunch of different conservationists and exhibitors, and that's hosted by the South Carolina Bobwhite Initiative. So that'll be a very cool new event there. Also at Brittlebank, we'll have at 1 p.m. on Saturday, there's going to be a search and rescue demonstration put on by the United States Coast Guard. So that'll be very cool to watch. You should try and be there if you can. See that over the Ashley River. And then we have a couple new sponsors this year. We have Nicholas Ayer and Purina Pro Plan. And yeah, we're excited.
So you already touched on one can't miss event. What about some of the other ones? I know the dog events probably tend to be very popular.
Yes. So definitely the search and rescue will be really cool. We also have the quick draw speed sculpt on Friday at the Charleston Place Hotel, where artists and sculptors have an hour to paint or sculpt a piece, and then we auction it off directly after. It's very cool to watch. And then the classics, the fan favorites, the live demonstrations at the Gill Yard with Bush Wildlife and Jeff Corwin, and then Doc Dogs, of course. The finals are on Sunday, and we have so many events, it's hard to even pinpoint one, but those are some of the top fan favorites for sure.
And this really takes over downtown Charleston. So kind of tell us when and where is SEWE so people can be aware if they're not already in the loop.
So it starts on Friday, February 18th, and it'll run through Sunday the 20th. It's across 5 venues, so Brittlebank Park, the Gill Yard, Charleston Marriott, Charleston Place Hotel, and Marion Square. And so it goes across all those, and it'll be just 10 to 6 on Friday and Saturday, and 10 to 5 on Sunday.
And last question for you, how can people get tickets if there's any even left?
Yes, so you can purchase tickets now through the show at any of the area's visitor centers, downtown, Mount Pleasant, Kiowa, North Charleston. And then through the show, you can purchase at any of our exhibit sites on all the day of. So.
All right, Megan's our girl for all the SEWE info. Thank you so much, Megan. And if you're headed out this weekend, I think Dave's going to have a look at what you can expect from weather.